All right, we're going to start off this run of videos with greatest advertising ever, and then see where that takes us in the next few weeks. Get a little bit more granular.
So your intro style is just to the point.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to pick the top 16, but we'll do a little bit of a buy-in. So all four of us, minus somebody who just couldn't be here in time, each chose one. We'll kind of sit here, pick one unanimously, and go from there. You want to start off with your first one?
I will start off by saying I'm disappointed in my choice now, but it's in. It's too late. I chose MTV's I Want My MTV campaign. The reason I chose it, because this is all about, ones that really resonate, that influence culture, create change, not just for the business or the brand, but society itself. So which has the greatest impact? And MTV, I Want My MTV, it transformed culture, music, fashion, TV, everything. And the campaign itself not only got eyeballs, but it sparked change, meaning at the time, this channel was not picked up by the stations, right? Your cable providers did not offer it. So I Want My MTV was to get teenagers and young people and people in general to call and say, I want my MTV. And they were hassling their parents, they were calling, celebrities were getting involved. And so I think it was incredibly inspirational and influential. And it's just a great example of what good content and good creative strategy can do. George Lois, legend, was behind this, and it was a cool visual campaign. It was a good, clear, purposeful thing that got people rallied, that got people excited, and it changed the face of TV for decades.
Then why are you disappointed in your choice?
Because I like the Geico one and Dumb Ways to Die, and I just gave away what else is on here. I mean, I was the first one to write mine, and I really liked it at the time, and then I liked it less as more popped in.
All right.
I can admit that I'm not always perfect.
Well, that one we actually have on camera, so.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick view of it. I mean, not just the play-in bracket, but the overall bracket is our ages are different, right? And our producer, Tim O'Shea, is half our age. And so he's probably never heard of that campaign before, right? So you didn't see you guys were even too young for this, right? Like, I remember this in the 80s. I remember the commercial. I think it was just because it was played over and over again, and they realized how well it was received originally, so they just kept utilizing it.
People did not want MTV for the music, so they had to change it. So, but it had a good run. Your selection, I don't really remember it.
Oh, that hurts.
I was alive for it, but I don't.
Were you sober for it?
Probably not. But no, it's Super Bowl. I don't watch Super Bowl. So I remember it being a thing, but I don't remember.
One of the biggest things was by the next morning, I think it was the most watched commercial ever.
Yeah. But was it influential? Did it change anything? Did it sell cars? Well, I guess we're moving to you.
Let's watch and discuss.
I do remember watching this live and wondering what the whole payoff was going to be. Yeah. Like, you never knew that this was going to be car-based.
I think it was fine.
It was fine.
And then, I mean, we have BJ here now. He was late, so we wanted to officially shame him. He was doing something important. We'll give him that.
I mean, it's debatable.
All right. So we only did I Want My MTV. Right now, it's ranked number 1 in the play-in bracket.
Okay. Seems like I feel like it's biased because you had said that you were throwing that one in there.
Yeah, but it is. It's as of right now, it's most well debated. If we go back to being influential, having some impact on society, on culture, on anything, I'd say that did nothing.
Even though it became probably the most rewatched commercial of all time.
I mean, I didn't remember that one off the top of my head, and like there are many that I don't remember as far in the auto space. But did it kick off the trend of highlighting features in a different way? do remember it's like, oh, this, this seat folds in to the base in the third row, or it's like, they'll look at the big sunroof, or look at this. Like, it became a very long run of just like, let's market the feature that every other car has too.
Yeah, but I think I don't even know, no offense, this one's worth debating.
Okay.
Did it significantly change auto sales? Probably not, right? But
No. Or society or culture
It
in
might have
general.
helped
And
Volkswagen a little bit get on the map in America. How many
I think
people
MTV
drove
kicked
the
its ass.
Sox or something like that.
I think MTV kicked its ass.
I'll give you MTV.
I'm just going to play it just to kind of like set this tone. I think everybody should remember this one.
Set fire to your hair, broke a stick at a grizzly bear, eat medicine that's out of date, use your private parts as piranha bait. Dumb ways to die, so many dumb ways to die, many dumb ways to die.
All right, we don't need to watch the rest of the 4 minutes of it, but this was my pick, and Australia Metro Trains put this out as a kind of awareness campaign. You always have to be like, watch out for, mind the gap in London, watch your step.
I think you just lost your own bracket right there.
Why?
Mind the gap.
Oh.
I mean, I think creatively, like if we were saying what is the most creative, or like what do we like as creatives, then I fucking love this one.
Mm-hmm.
But we were saying what is the most influential, what is had the greatest impact.
Who's to say? We never set those guidelines.
We did, from the beginning.
No, we didn't.
So is it most creative?
That's up for us to decide.
No, it's a little late for us to decide.
No, it's not.
Because we're changing the parameters.
But we've only gone through one bracket.
Who's in charge of the show?
I think the challenge, the challenge for me, because I agree, right? Creatively, like, it was incredible,
Now,
but
mind
no
you-
one mirrored it.
Some did.
But it didn't
No,
change,
never had the same. No,
right? Like
no.
it.
Because I think Royal Caribbean even got the same creator of the song to create a song for them. But then it was like, oh, you're just copying. You're not creating. You're not being inspired. You're just trying to mimic. And there's a difference.
Right.
And so, yeah, it created a trend of using original music, but it didn't create massive cultural change or impact enough that people recognize it. You hear the case for Geico?
Gecko. Why? I'll tell you why. Because people trust advertising icons. Some bloke tells you to go to geico.com and you're like, really? Just do my new bit. But a gecko, he can be trusted.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
There was ever a commercial that was detrimental to the insurance industry. It was that one.
Detrimental loss.
So I mean, I think that at the time, or even like looking back, like the gecko itself isn't necessarily as meaningful as what it kicked off, right? Like
yes.
it shifted a mindset to the realities of insurance and shopping for insurance being shitty, and the evolution of digital platforms as a means to get quotes and access, different policy options and things like that. Like 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Like that, it was very.
That was probably one of the first times an insurance company like actually valued people's time.
Yeah.
Like this is how much time it's going to take for us to
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
it's, I mean, mimicry, right?
Yeah.
So barely can we connect Dumb Ways to Die to those who mimicked or flat out copied. This is still being copied. There was the character creation, there was the playful, irreverent storytelling in the insurance agency or industry, but even now, brands are still ripping off this, right? We went into the so simple, even a caveman can do it. Capital One is still running like, oh, it's just simple to say or whatever. It's like, oh, I choose Charles Barkley on my basketball, whatever it is. Like that's still model with this. It's so simple. Even I can do it, or they can do it, or it's the easy decision. It's just repeating itself.
Yeah.
And they really kind of made that commonplace. That's the simplicity of that message, that value proposition, with the added layer of great varying storytelling with like Hump Day and the Caveman. And
I mean, yeah, you got flow and like people, roll their eyes, but silly, but they're memorable. I'm all about bundling, right? Like that's what, and when we were talking about this earlier, like I love the Mayhem series. You know, like those are. I feel like that should, like, to me, that's on the top. You know, of Mount Rushmore, but it still wouldn't be a thing without you know, the Geico Trailblazer.
And my favorite, which you say, Mayhem is sad. I don't know brand. I know at agency it was Leo Burnett, but it was bad for the industry and the business. I accept Liberty Mutual's Limu Emu. Love it. I think it's goofy. I like it. The agency got fired. It was bad for them. Yes.
Well, because I thought this like from the very beginning, and it honestly stuck around. They must have had a real long commitment with because like, and they spent a fortune going in that direction, but it was like 3 years longer than I thought it was going to last, because all of those examples, whether it's a Geico, whether it's Flow, whether it's, they're creating satire in and around insurance mishaps, but the insurance company is the solid, stable foundation that's there for you. And that was the only one where it positioned, it was trying to go for the silly wow factor to get attention, which it did, but subconsciously it positioned the insurance company as a bumbling idiot.
It's true.
In the emu or whatever.
I actually vote Geico goes past Dumb Ways Die, past I Want My MTV right into the main bracket.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you golden button that? Is this, what is this? Is this Idol or X? Or what is
I was gonna say,
I don't know what that means.
my lasting comment on the whole thing was, you look in like the marketing world, and if you see rinse and repeat, it typically fails. And to all of your point, the fact that all these other companies could do the literally the exact same thing in a different form and be successful at the same time, then have Geico still sticking to the Geico
and still win
20 plus years later and still be the juggernaut above the rest. I think that's a testament in itself, and I agree.
All right.
Well, on to the main bracket. We'll start with Nike versus Marlboro.
I run 17 miles every morning.
John.
Does Tim drop our audio during these?
You know, I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime.
Definitely John.
I leave in my locker.
All right, so this is a 1v16 scenario. I think this is a blowout right away, and we don't even need to debate this one. How on earth is Marlboro Man? It's significant. It was legendary as creating a character, creating a vibe, creating a persona, something that people could want to live up to, right? Yeah. I want to be that rugged, by smoking this, I'm cool, right? I'm a cowboy, I'm America. No, fuck that, Nike wins.
I agree.
That's a blowout. Yeah.
I will give Marlboro a little bit of credit because they came up with that campaign to completely change the audience they were trying to attract. Like, they were focused solely on women up until that point.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
And to your point, coming up with the rugged man and being out in the wilderness.
Yeah, if I'm going to smoke a cigarette, if we're going to go grab some cigarettes right now, I'm going to get Marlboro. And that's been off the air for 20 plus years, 30 years. Yeah, I'd still smoke a Marlboro. That says something. And I've never smoked a cigarette in my life.
All right, we got California Milk Processing Board with the Got Milk campaign versus Old Spice, the man your man could be.
Smell like. You're the man you're...
Smell like. Apologies.
Yeah.
Milk's for babies.
Yeah, babies.
Yeah? Well, I happen to know that milk helps build strong bones. So drink up. Well, Mr. Miller told me he never drinks milk. Look at him.
Yeah.
Hey, kid.
I don't think I've ever seen this one.
I think I vaguely remember, but
Oh, man.
Was that real?
Yeah,
That was the first one.
The only one that came to mind was the original one with the Aaron Burr, the
yeah.
peanut butter, directed by Michael Bay.
Oh, yeah. I almost went with that. I almost went with the one with the guy in the
know.
full body cast that got the cookie.
Oh, yeah.
And then Old Spice.
Hello, ladies. How are you? Fantastic. Does your man look like me? No. Can he smell like me? Yes. Should he use Old Spice body wash? I don't know. Do you like the smell of adventure? Do you want a man who smells like he can bake you a gourmet cake in the dream kitchen he built you with his own hands? Of course you do. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, two things immediately come to mind is talk about, you mentioned Marlboro shifting audience, right? This was a major shift. My dad
wore Old Spice before this. Now suddenly everyone wore Old Spice, but also influencing what was, like you mentioned, Dollar Shave Club being potentially on this list, because that was a quite an influential first quote unquote ad they created, right? Because it was non-traditional. You could argue Old Spice inspired that, which inspired that entire DCC run of Harmon Brothers and, you know, Sandwich Co. and all the other irreverent ones that lived inside the DCC space and beyond. But this was the irreverent one of our generation.
You're not wrong. There's just something, I don't know. I never personally identified with those commercials or Old Spice. Like, it just was, I don't know why. It's just like it never, I always thought it was just a little bit too cheesy. I don't know, too cheesy, too.
I found it messy. I don't know why. I thought it was. I think I enjoyed the creativity about putting that commercial together the way they did in that like one shot kind of feel. But again, dumb ways to die. We did it because of creativity. Old Spice, pretty creative, but doesn't stand the test.
Just doing it for the flash, it feels like.
Yeah.
So we
Milk.
got milk.
Like you can't.
You can't. It's just legendary.
Milk mustache that came out of that.
I was gonna say the fact that Got Milk extended way past commercials.
Yeah.
Like I remember being in elementary school and they had this like one day where there was a shoot for everybody and we all got a milk mustache and our photograph taken.
That's
I
weird.
mean, but milk mustaches, like, I feel like it was like on Seinfeld. I don't know.
Like,
It was
exactly,
everywhere.
yeah.
It was everywhere.
No, Got Milk, it wins.
All right, we got Diamonds Forever and The Most Interesting Man.
I mean, I have a case for De Beers just because if we're talking about impact, we're talking about change. It changed marriage. It changed relationships. It changed commerce.
Yeah. Dos Equis got a real
It
shitty draw
sold some
in his
beers.
bracket,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that.
But that's the way the brackets go. Sometimes you get a shitty matchup.
How else could 2 months out?
And
I mean, I really want to make a case for something like, you know, more modern, like, you know, it's just like, obviously De Beers has been heralded forever for that campaign. But.
Yeah. Well, then there's an element here of, you know, we debated a little even, is it impact or is it creativity? I would say Dos Equis, the creators of it admitted this. It's just the Chuck Norris thing. That's all it is.
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's not even that. It's not even that creative.
Oh, you gotta play the line.
Peter, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards Dos Equis here.
Debate it, right? Get my vote.
I mean, there was a reason why we put Dos Equis on here opposed to all the Bud Light campaigns, all the Budweiser campaigns. Like, those things are timeless. Like the Clydesdale, you know, the Dilly Dilly of Bud Light.
Frogs.
Was up. Like, from a cultural standpoint, I would say the Was Up campaign was more effective on those like 3 years that it ran than any of the others. But, you know, it's just a testament of how good Dos Equis' Most Interesting Man and how many different ways they could make him interesting over the course of time. But in the long run, I agreed, it doesn't really hold anything to De Beers.
De Beers shifted an entire industry.
Yeah.
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 Agreed.
I think it wins. You know, also sometimes in March Madness, the brackets, sometimes you get a matchup that just sucks. Both sides of it.
Yep.
I think this next one is that.
Yeah.
Where is the beef? Wendy's hired people never ask, where's the beef?
I remember that being a lot better.
Yeah, right? Like, that just fell really flat.
That felt stale.
But
yeah.
it apparently did so well back then.
Yeah.
Tell me an energy drink that existed before Red Bull gave you wings.
I don't know. I could even just to think of energy drinks now, I have to
Yeah.
picture your desk.
Occasionally.
Did
yeah.
Monster come out before Red Bull?
But that's the thing, you don't know.
Yeah,
right?
no
Like
clue.
Rockstar, Monster, Nos.
And even like
Like-
Unleash the Beast doesn't stack up against.
Is that that's a name?
That's for Monster, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that was like the name of a brand. The stunt on Red Bull, and maybe I don't know if it was again associated with this quote unquote campaign or tagline, but putting the empty cans in a trash can so it looked like a lot of people were drinking them, so it made people more
That
curious.
was their launch. That was
Yeah,
early on.
New York
That's how
City
they got it,
launch.
yeah.
That's brilliant. So I'm voting Red Bull.
Agreed.
I think 1984 is maybe the most hands down overrated piece of advertising content or experiences ever. I think 1984 is just boring trash.
Didn't Ridley Scott direct?
Yeah, Ridley Scott. Yeah, I don't like it. I think Real Beauty, meanwhile, was incredible and different, and it was one of the only true insights we've had in the last decade.
Back when I first saw the first Apple 1984, one, I had never read the book, so I had no like understanding of like and
I read the book.
so then I didn't quite. So I never understood the whole purpose of the commercial in itself.
In June, right, 8 o'clock on a Friday night in June on primetime TV, like, would it have actually created this rift, this ripple effect? Like it's, all of the other highly commercialized, storytelling commercials with America watching the big game, like that is jarring in that sense. And so I think that the impact of it was, I don't know if it's the biggest
we could
hoax or the wherever you classified it as.
Did this get the number one ranking?
There's no numbers to these.
There were. Chat ranked them.
Well, stop doing it.
Off of cultural impact.
Well, that was your fault, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I asked it what was the most influential.
Because
on society, on culture, on creativity.
Realistic.
I think that Mac versus PC had bigger.
I was just going to say, realistically, we could do an entire bracket on Apple campaigns, which I'm sure we could do at some point.
Yeah.
So I don't even think 1984 is their best campaign.
I don't think so either.
And with that, I don't think that they should be able to move on.
Dove, go.
Dove.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Dove.
So AI ranked this 2. Nike Just Do It was 1.
There you go. So next bracket, I had a question mark on this when you first shared it. Absolute, the bottle campaign. Is this in here just like for like a design out of commercial space? Because I can't think of a commercial.
Exactly. We've always put the emphasis on commercials for a campaign, and it's so much more. And I think Absolute has been able to do what they've done with their bottles in a timeless fashion where they've been able to be creative time and time again in new avenues.
Probably looking back, like one of the first things that got me into like interested in our world now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that Absolute was the shit for like forever. Until I drank a bottle of it and threw up for an entire 24 hours.
So how does anyone have an argument for McDonald's here? Because I don't know. I can't answer what even the campaign is other than do. Isn't it? Wait, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. I just was like, for a second, I was like, oh, that's not even the right one.
Yeah, but like I remember
it's more of a jingle than.
And I was going to say,
Yeah.
they came up with the tagline first, and then they gave it to, I believe, a German band to produce the jingle.
I don't even, what's the story there? Like, just reminding people, like, you have to tell people they'll love it because they probably won't because they feel like crap later?
Apparently.
I don't know.
It's a
I have
reassurance.
no argument for McDonald's on this one.
I think other than the fact that everybody knows it, it's only...
Yeah, they paid for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I go like 2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun. Like that is ingrained in my head more than I'm loving it.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I got nothing for McDonald's here. I think Absolute goes through.
I agree.
So next bracket, we've already talked about Geico.
Yep.
So a challenge for me is any of these, if I didn't know what it was, I didn't know what Share Coke was.
Really?
I didn't know what that meant. I was thinking tagline. My brain went to like when the football player traded jersey with like.
Oh yeah, no.
And I was like, just
talked about as like highly successful.
Well, but then
like
it turns out it's the thing with they put names on the bottle, which I thought was the dumbest thing ever. That I was shocked by the stupidity of people that they were running out to stores to find their name on a bottle.
I don't think that they were. I think that's marketing case study.
Yeah.
But if you think about the money that they put behind, and what made me skeptical about my point of view was that it launched in, I think, Australia or something, and then was so widely received that it went worldwide. But I still think Coke putting that kind of money behind a campaign, driving more visibility, driving more conversation, like I actually, like, I mean, my name's never going to be on any bottle, but like I wasn't excited by that. And if I saw, like.
That would have been a big seller though.
Yeah. Share a BJ. That would have been much better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Coke, like if you want to go back to like arguably the first influencer in Santa Claus. Like, I mean, there's so many other.
Yeah. But that's why I think like brand versus campaign, advertising, creative. I think brand powerhouse.
Yeah.
Campaigns, ideas, creative. I think they just pay for mass.
Oh, they play it safe.
But yeah, then they just pay a lot of money so that's seen by everyone. I think Geico wins this one.
But they're also like Apple. They have so many that we could just pit them against each other. But I agree. I don't think it really stands up. I mean, I don't even think about it now. And I might just be biased because I never found a Corey and nobody ever shared a Corey with me.
I'm sorry.
So
right.
You went hands down worse when Pepsi tried to match by putting emojis on bottles.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was trash.
And I'm a Pepsi. I prefer Pepsi over Coke too. So I'm really like triply down on Coke right now.
I'd be curious, like, what was the actual psychological effect? Like, if I walked up and I was like, oh, I want some cola. Let me look at Coke, and like James is looking at me. I'm like, I don't want to buy James.
I don't blame you.
Like,
Well, that's it. Then you'll share Coke. You'll buy it for me, and you'll buy
Well,
one for
yeah,
yourself.
right.
I think
I'll
that
share
was the
it.
point.
I will buy it. Throw it in my front seat, let it heat up for the next week until
Yeah.
I see you, or whatever. Right? Like,
And
that's
shake
why-
it right beforehand.
That's why I don't think people were going out and like. I think it's a really great story.
Yeah.
I think they were hoping it was going to be a conversation starter. It was going to connect the world. It was going to make everyone feel inclusive, or to make everyone feel like they're part of the brand.
Yeah, this sounds like some
And-
bullshit
yeah.
I would be spouting in a meeting.
You know, if anyone's going to be a Cola, it's going to be Coca-Cola.
Yeah, very true. All right, as BJ was a couple minutes late, I got to leave a little early because I'm getting interrupted. I got to go talk to him about something. I hands down vote Like a Girl here. I thought it was moving, it was smart, it was impactful, it was valuable. Snickers, like, this was fine. It was entertaining.
It's funny.
Once,
Yeah.
But
You're going to talk to it with your guys at the water
Yeah, I
cooler.
liked the
But
Betty.
it's like-
I liked the Betty White thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
agree.
was that Greg
There's only,
Hahn,
like,
BB
so
Doe
many variants
era.
before it gets tired.
Yeah, it got tired
like-
after the second one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Like a Girl, home run.
I agree. It also became like a good view of generational issues where our millennials growing up and always treating women as lesser. And then you talk to children and they are none the wiser, and good for them because they go through life a whole lot easier and are able to put us all in our place.
It was great. So it'll be fun now because I got to run.
Yes, it is fun now.
It'll be fun to see where you guys get. I have a theory on where it's going to end up.
You
I'm
want
not going to say it.
to give him a piece of paper, have him write it down. We'll see if we end up agreeing with him. I mean, the betting odds closed a while ago, so we should be safe right there.
right.
This thing is screwed.
It was in a tough spot. I will say.
And then just fold it up and we'll open it. At the
Yeah,
end.
dude. Just put it right in the garbage. It'd be great.
I did too. I said what I want versus what I think
Okay.
All right.
because I think they're different. All right. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
No, erase all those answers. We'll start over.
All right, I don't think we have to go through rewatching anything. Everything's kind of fresh in our minds. We could probably power through this because I think some of these will probably be easier than others. But Nike Just Do It and Got Milk. Maybe not as easy as thought, but
We don't have criteria. We don't have stated. We don't
no.
have defined criteria.
See,
yet?
I think creativity needs to play a part in this. Like, creatively, like, Nike sticks to their laurels of just do it. There's no like fancy twists to it. It's just you can do it. Like, no ways about it. Got Milk made fun of themselves. They got people involved to be part of it. I think that they had a bigger reach.
I
Now,
think the legacy, the enduring nature of it, like the fact that it continues to this day to tie into the warrior archetype and everything they do as a brand is a reflection and build on that. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the current Milk campaign is.
Yeah,
No clue.
I would agree. I was like the longevity of Just Do It, and like the messaging behind it. Really, the messaging can be anything. It could be sports related. It could be lifestyle.
Well, that's right. That's the thing. It was like it created
Right.
the athletic like, or
It's like the-
created that lifestyle, like
Yeah.
created a sport
Yeah.
focused
It's the
lifestyle.
ultimate juggernaut umbrella campaign. You got to think everything Nike does, smaller campaigns, smaller taglines, everything still flows up to just do it.
Yeah. You could argue that people are probably looking for like alternative milk options now. That
Right?
They're not concerned.
That's a
with
great point. You got to think like almond milk, oat milk. Like it's not just about milk anymore.
Yeah.
That's great. Diamonds Forever and Red Bull gives you wings. And I thought this was going to be easy for me until James, and I'll say that because he's not here, was talking about like, I think he put in perspective of like all these stunts that they do
Yeah.
falls underneath that whole gives you wings moniker. And from a creative standpoint, I will take Red Bull all the way through.
Well, I like, as we were talking through it, De Beers 100% created a marketplace for the diamond. It gave it meaning. It changed its measure of a symbol to kind of solidify relationships. And, the staying power of that has been extreme. Is it waning a little bit now?
I was going to say, I'd argue that even in today's world, that diamonds are almost a afterthought for wedding rings or anything along those lines. I've been to 4 weddings in the past, I want to say 3 years, and not a single one of them had a diamond on their ring.
People are looking for alternatives.
I also don't know.
Guarantee it's money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's so hard with De Beers too because yes, the campaign itself was so impactful, but at the same time, it probably caused a lot of violence for like diamond mining and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's like if you look at it from both sides, it's like sure from a advertising perspective, it was great. From a personal choice, it's like the impact was probably a larger scale.
I would also venture to say that like we know it because like we looked for memorable campaigns,
Right.
and this is our world, right?
Right.
So like it's always a case study on something that was able to create a marketplace and demand. But like, if I wasn't in this world, would I know what De Beers was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
a
don't
great
know.
point.
Like, there's no branding. Like, when you're going to your local jeweler and you're like, oh, I want a diamond. Is it GIA or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, but you're not. There's no like De Beers.
Yeah.
K's is more recognized than De
Yeah,
Beers. right?
exactly.
Every kiss.
Yeah.
I'm saying Red Bull here.
I agree.
Red Bull.
Can't wait to see that in the
Wow,
comments.
that's
Wow.
yeah.
All right. Dove Real Beauty, absolute.
I think just the significance of Dove, like,
I agree.
is hands down.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think also just because like absolute is kind of like tied very strictly to the print side and out of home, that Dove has a much wider reach.
Yeah, but the fact that Absolute took print ads and turned them into art,
Right.
that
Like
like
this-
college kids were framing, like that's pretty.
Yeah,
remarkable
that's
too,
massive.
but That's tough. Yeah.
All right. Geico versus Always.
I was actually just trying.
Can we play the Always one?
Okay, so I'm gonna just give you some actions to do and just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
The fact that the women are doing that too.
Show me what it looks
I
like
know.
to fight like a girl. So do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. I mean, yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
Is like a girl a good thing?
Actually, I don't know what it really, if it's a bad thing or a good thing.
And what advice do you have to young girls who are told they run like a girl, kick like a girl?
No, we don't need to watch anymore, but I feel like this is like the first one that really pulls on the heartstrings to make you kind of really think a little bit more about social norms.
Yeah, it's like it's hard not to go with this one to advance because while Geico is trying to impact an industry of insurance, this is trying to impact the world on a global scale.
Yeah.
I know that's like what I was wrestling with too. It's
Yeah.
like the culture, like the significance, the meaning
Right.
of of what it stands for should let it coast, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like that's what I was trying to like. It won 14 Lions, right? And the video was viewed more than this says 90 million times, whatever it is. But like, we unfortunately haven't had much progress, right? Like it was an amazing statement, and it got people to stop and think and acknowledge that like the way in which we view women is bullshit in many ways. But has it like they didn't even stick with the campaign? I don't know. What
I was just going to ask, did they do any sort of follow up? Did they choose not to because they realized they weren't making as much of an impact as they were hoping, and maybe this is something that's gaining more of like a cult following in the, if you think from the movie industry, a ton of great movies get overlooked, and it's not until like 20 years later it gets recognized. True. Again, this is only 10 years old. Who's to say that it doesn't pick up steam again?
What a great platform to put this on a pedestal and dance it.
I can't be convinced of either of.
Again, we don't have
it. Did it shift how brands truly marketed, or how they spoke to women or portrayed women? Like, have we seen a change?
Sadly, I don't think so. And I keep going back to my whole idea of like, it's got to have some sort of creativity where, it's a creative insight of social norms, but Geico just keeps reinventing the wheel with the same sad old Geico in new funny ways. My personal vote is Geico.
I would go Geico, and I'm cheating a little bit, like looking ahead, right? But if it's Real Beauty versus like a girl, I think like Real Beauty, they have maintained that, right? It's changed, like influencers, whether it's Jennifer Love Hewitt to whatever, or don't wear makeup or don't airbrush, right? Or like, and when you talk about body inclusivity, like Dove has paid it off and continued, and others have followed, right? So I think Geico.
Yeah, Geico. And if we move that one forward, I say we do this one on the bottom first, because right off the bat, I'm sticking to Red Bull.
See, now it made more sense with the beers, but not. I don't know if I'm kind of leaning towards Geico a little bit, just again because of the overall impact and longevity it's had. Red Bull,
it's a little bit younger too.
Yeah.
And look at how much they've grown over the course of 10 years and what they do now. Like, they go far past just their marketing and what they do with their events and stunts. And are they more than just a brand now? Like, Geico's still just commercial.
But
Red Bull has the edge when it comes to like stunt based.
And I mean, Red Bull was really
F1. Well,
that's the thing. Like, Red Bull realized, and that's almost like are they selling the product that they actually intended to sell when they launched, or they turned into a media company?
100%,
right?
Yep.
Like,
and that started off their Red Bull Gives You Wings. Like, that got them. Geico's still an insurance company.
You sold me.
They've also created a category in the energy drink market.
Like, Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Feels dirty.
Wow.
Like
we convinced BJ to go against Geico.
Feels dirty.
Is Red Bull still untouchable with with C4 and Ghost and all that? Like, they're like.
It's lost.
I'd be curious
to traction, see. But that's where I think now Red Bull has more. I mean, I had a Red Bull this morning, but I think that it has more value in the marketplace as an F1 sponsor, as a rally car sponsor, like in its productions, and it's but I mean, I don't know how its sales are.
Yeah, no clue. And it's like, it seems like that's even like an afterthought. Even Red Bull doesn't care what their sales are, because they're so much bigger than that.
Right.
All right, we got Nike and Dove.
both like significant shifts in mindset, calls to action, right, for very different purposes. And also the challenge, I think, is like, what, 40 years apart, 50 years apart?
Yeah.
So you see what Nike has been able, and the impact it's had to a much greater extent than what Dove's been able to impact, quite honestly, in the face of this social media explosion and TikTok explosion and the perception of perfection and everything, right? Like, they're still kind of creating that void and creating waves.
Yeah. I think it's very relatable to, like, you know, Always Like a Girl, where it's serving an immediate purpose when it launches, but it's about that longevity and where that campaign builds as the years goes on, and we haven't quite seen that same impact where Nike has a cultural impact.
Right. And I was going to make some comment being like, you know, Dove was able to go down that controversial road to do something that nobody else had done. But Nike does that almost like yearly. You think about it, like what they did with Colin Kaepernick. Like nobody would touch him with a 10-foot pole, but they're like, well, we're going to make him the poster child. And they've done that with multiple athletes.
Yeah.
And it continues to work for them. Everybody's like, oh, well, I'm never going to wear Nike again. Pretty sure you will.
Yeah, they said that about Bud Light, too.
Yeah, right. I got to go Nike.
Same.
I mean, you know, 2 against 1 here. No, I don't know. I'm not. Okay.
Oh.
I don't know. You know, I just like, I'm trying to also play a little devil's advocate. It's like, does this just become
this is what we all expected from the beginning?
The dude's finalist bracket, 4 guys in a room, and it's Nike versus Red Bull. I mean, I think like
that's a good point.
No, but
and today's sponsor is Red Bull.
See, that's what I felt about Always. So it's like I'm in the same boat as BJ now, where I'm leaning towards Dove because I feel like we should mix it up a little bit. We should throw a curveball. I feel like we've gone pretty safe up until this point.
Yeah. I'm going Dove.
Dove?
Yeah.
Dove.
Because it's also, like, if we're talking about advertising, like, that was an activation that has changed, right? Where, like, Nike, it's been a build, and they've had, yes, it has so much meaning now, and they can continue to build on it, but there's been, I think it's, like, the history that's allowed them to continue to persevere through that.
Yeah.
Signings and all the other, like, I think in order to make a statement like that Dove made.
Maybe Nike has it too easy. They're so big that they can easily do those type of things and not get the type of backlash that Dove was willing to take a risk on. And that's a bigger impact.
Yeah, I think I think it made everyone think more. Like Nike is just do. It's like we're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. And like, fuck yeah, like I'll get out there. Like,
yeah,
but
there's not much thought behind it.
You know,
at
like,
this point.
Yeah,
and it's a symbol, right? It's like, but I don't think that that's a call to action that it was meant to be with that ad that we watched. Right. People don't read Just Do It and like, I'm going to get out of it. I'm just going to try it.
Yeah,
right?
go run 17 miles with no dentures
or anything. Right. Like it's, you know, it's just, I don't know. I think like just from like a campaign that changed things, I would say no.
Cool. All right. This is it.
That's where I struggle with Red Bull too, though. Because like it wasn't, we can't think of that one campaign. Like Stratos got so much like press because of what it was, right? Like it gives you wings, like message and the platform, insanely strong. The New York City stunt with empty cans, so brilliant. But like, what was the campaign, like if it was one, it was like going to college students and saying Red Bull vodka, right? Like that's what it should have been.
This was another one that I honestly didn't understand, like that whole 1984 one. The original Red Bull was those hand-drawn commercials.
Yeah, almost like the old like blow pop commercial
Yeah.
with the owl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And for some reason, the guy was
That
talking to
didn't
his
make the
dog.
list. How many licks
I
did
know.
it take?
Yeah.
That was a great one.
That'll be the food and beverage episode. And then he would just drink the Red Bull and say it gives you wings, and he would flutter off and be like, what the hell was the purpose of that? Mm-hmm. Like, what are you trying to sell me on? Like, that I could go on top of my roof and just jump off and be okay?
Yeah, so I think it's Dove then. Based
Yeah,
off
it's
of
like
that,
I lean
what you just said.
towards Dove because there's been so many beverages that have come out into the market that promise you, certain abilities or whatnot. And,
Yeah.
And it's like, and not all of them are scientifically backed. Red Bull's not scientifically backed.
Also, like, wasn't that Dove ad wasn't it like fucking 5 minutes long?
We should
And
actually-
all sat-
we
and
never
all-
watched it, so
I
let's-
was like, I remember being like so just completely entrenched and compelled into like what.
But this was to like my comment earlier, like when I first saw this and saw like what they actually do to a person opposed to what you actually see on the billboard and how fake it is.
Yeah.
And Dove just pulled back the curtain and they were willing to be raw. Like,
You look at that, and it's like, why did we ever have like real model? Like, we should just use AI from the beginning. Like, well, there's nothing. But that wasn't. I mean, the one that stuck with me was the describe yourself to the portrait artist.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, three minutes.
3 minutes.
Worked for the San Jose Police Department from 1995 to 2011.
I showed up to a place I'd never
I
been,
wasn't gonna skip along,
and
but
then protrudes a little bit, especially when I smile.
Your jaw?
My mom told me I had a big jaw.
What would be your most prominent feature
Kind of have a fat, rounder face.
that you helped me create? And that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
So yeah, that's.
Red Bull.
She looks
Red Bull can
closed
give you
off
wings,
and-
but Dove can give you that emotion.
yeah.
The second one.
Like, that's something that can relate. Like that body image and like is like that is transcendent message.
Yeah.
So
Are we unanimous decision? Dove takes it home.
yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's see what James's. Anybody guess what James's guesses were? He said his what he thinks it would be and what he.
did the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I bet you he said Geico was the winner.
He had two. Remember?
De Beers.
I'm gonna say he
Because he's a traditional.
wants De Beers to win, but he thinks Geico or Red Bull won.
Okay. I think Red Bull's one of them because
Yeah.
he seemed pretty hot to trot at 1
Yeah.
second where he's like, it's going all the way. He wants, wanting, he said either Nike or Dove. All right, well,
Okay.
he's a little cheating here with, he thinks Nike or Geico.
Well,
Sucks to suck. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. I look forward to our next bracket and what that topic may unfold.
I mean, I feel like we got to do the next bracket, and then that meets off against Dove. We got some other. We got. we got plenty.
We got
of
endless.
in here.
Endless.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we could do the end of the year and kind of put them all together.
Let's do it.
Maybe we should actually put some guidelines into the next one.
criteria? What?
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.